So we focus so much on who is right and we forget what is right. So it's better to focus on what is right rather than who is right. Now, when we are interacting with others, we have to be present. We we have to pay attention, right? Like we are so distracted. If I've seen this, people are talking to each other and they just pull out their phone and look at the notification. Like there is no important notification comes that is more important than talking to your loved one. So just being mindful, being present, paying attention to when you're interacting with your loved ones, that improves your connections with them. Many times we are trying to be interesting when we communicate with others. It's better to be interested than interesting. So you have to show your interest in others to be a good friends with them, right? Like how do you get good friends? The best way to get a good friend is to be one, right? If you become a good friend, you have much more likelihood of finding somebody who wants to have a genuine connection with you. Like when you are in the presence of your close friend, it's good to speak honestly and uh, show your vulnerability, right? Because if you're always talking about only good things that's happening in your life, that kind of creates a distance because they know not everything is happy in life, right? Like if you look at somebody's social media presence and you think that they have all the happy things happening in their life, which is not practically possible, right? Everything has something going wrong in their life, but they're not gonna show that on social media. And that's the problem with spending too much time on social media. Because people who spend too much time on social media, they think that everybody around them has such an amazing life except themselves. They think, I have these five problems, and look at all of my friends. They are having such an amazing time in their life. But you're only seeing what's going right in their life. You are not seeing what's going wrong in their life. So you're gonna have a deviated or skewed representation of other people's life, and individuals spending more time on social media are more likely to get depressed and socially isolated. It's, it's important to be an empathetic listener and think about what the other person is speaking rather than constantly thinking what I'm going to say next in a response to the other speaker. Searching for positive things in others, right? Like when you're interacting with somebody, say, if you are always saying negative things about other people or other situations, you are creating a negative environment. It's okay to gossip, right? Occasionally. Uh, but if you are continuously gossiping or saying bad things about others, the person who is listening to you is probably thinking that if you are bad mouthing others, you're gonna be bad mouthing them to somebody else. So it's better to speak positive things rather than negative things all the time. It's better to be non-judgmental, right? It's okay to make requests and provide direction and guidance, but not criticism and threats, right? That doesn't go too far for too long. So I read this really good Harvard Business Review on how to have a good small talk. So the key portion is that it's better to be interesting. Uh, sorry, it's better to be interested into what other person has to say rather than always have to come up with something really interesting to talk about. So there are a couple of tips and tricks I have for you that how can you get better at the small talk. So if you are in a social situation, if somebody is talking, always give a good amount of pause before you respond. You don't have to be the speediest person to respond. It's better to have an appropriate response over a fast response, thoughtful response over just a reactive response. If you don't know what to do, sometimes just slowing it down and paraphrasing what other person has said can be very helpful. You can validate their message, or you can just say, tell me more, right? Like if somebody's telling you something and you don't know what else to respond, there is a very golden sentence, tell me more or give me more detail. They'll be happy to talk more about that incident and feel closer to you. The goal of communication is not perfection. The goal of the communication is connection, right? So you don't have to be right every time. You don't have to prove in your communication with the person that your point was right, because sometimes while communicating others, we forget what is right in the in the quest of proving who is right, right? Everybody wants to be right. So we focus so much on who is right and we forget what is right. So it's better to focus on what is right rather than who is right. Like when you communicate with somebody, rather than in asking a very generic question, for example, how are you? If you ask a question, how are you? They're going to say fine, right? And then the communication ended. And now you have to come up with something new that they will have to talk about. So better to ask or start something that, oh, the weather was great. And I really enjoy this weather because of XYZ. Or, oh, do you remember this person? Or something unique or different, right? Something that you notice that, oh, wow, in this party, I really like their decoration. So something that can get the ball going rather than just having a plain mundane sentence about how are you. Now, there are a couple of things that I mentioned, and I will summarize. Pause before you respond, paraphrase, tell me more. The goal is connection, not perfection. Be concise and organized, and use unique questions rather than generic questions. When it's time to end the conversation, uh, don't be awkward. Like, don't say, oh, I need to go to the restroom, or I'm thirsty or hungry. Like, many times people don't know how to stop the small talk, right? It's also a skill of how to good way stop small talk. You can start out by body language. You start walking backward a little bit. You turn your foot to the other direction to let other people in the group and stuff like that. So, for example, if two people are talking and they're very close to each other, the other parties will be hesitant to join your group. So what you do, if you see somebody approaching, you just turn your body slightly towards them, open the angle so they can join your group. So these are very small, subtle, non-verbal cues of letting other people join your group and showing the white flag that I'm ready to leave. You can say that, hey, before I leave, I have this one final comment or one final question for you. So the other person is also getting ready that, okay, our small talk is ending now and we're going to do the next. Friends are the antidote for social isolation. We do have our one loved one, but many of us are missing those close friends that we can rely on. So how do we develop or cultivate good friends? So there are three pillars of good friendship. One is consistency, positivity, and vulnerability. So in terms of consistency, if you are spending regular time with your friends, it creates a shared history and trust. My grandmother used to say, the grass is greener where you water it. I had a hard time understanding when I was young, but now I know if I want a relationship to be greener, I have to water it. Like I can't just expect relationships to become nice and green if I have not spent time nurturing that relationship. So if you want to be good friends with somebody, have a scheduled time with that person. Just pencil in your calendar. Nowadays, not penciling in, like put it down on your digital calendar that this is the time you're going to spend with that person. It can be just a phone call or a walk together or a golf game or a pickleball game or something when you're spending time together. If you're a very busy individual, decide to cook together, right? Like I'm very busy, you are very busy, but we want to spend time together. You just show up to their house and cook together, and you take the meal back home for your family. And then a week later, your friend shows up to your house, cooks together, and takes a meal back to their home, right? So you're still doing chore that you needed to do, but you're spending time together. Now, the same thing you can apply in grocery shopping or things like that. So you just don't have to go to a restaurant together to spend time together, right? You can do your chores together to spend time together. Now, if you want to maintain a good friendship with somebody, you have to have at least 5 positive interactions per one negative interaction. Like if you continue to have multiple negative interaction with a friend without any positive interactions, that friendship's gonna get thinner and thinner. So it's very important to maintain positivity. But it doesn't have to be a fake positivity, right? It's okay to disagree with your friends. It's okay to have argument with your friend or a loved one. But you have to have more interactions that are positive than negative interactions to maintain that connection. Because sometimes we started taking things for granted, right? If we have somebody that is our close friend, we started taking them for granted and not think about how to create a positive interaction with them. One good way of being good friends to somebody is to be true to ourselves, not only just share good things about ourselves, right? Most of the time, for our shallower friends, we are always saying what things are going good or right in our life, right? But as soon as you open up yourself and talk about your insecurities and dreams and your feelings, the other person gets a permission to open up as well. And it's hard, right? Like when you are young, we are much more likely to be open of our friends. But as we get older, it becomes harder and harder to be open to our friends. So if you are an adult and if you want to make good intimate friends, obviously after you have vetted them out, it's a good idea to become vulnerable with them. You have to choose your friends wisely, right? Because even though you know loneliness is lethal, you don't want people to be your friend just because of who you are, right? And that's what makes some people more lonely. Like if you're highly successful, if you're wealthy, then you don't know whether other people want to be your friend just because of your house, like your possessions, and who you are, or they want to be your friend just because of who you are, not your possessions. So it becomes harder and harder the older we are, but it's still possible to make good friends. Now this is a good driveway test. So like when you are leaving a friend's house, do you feel nourished or do you feel depleted? If every time you're leaving this friend's house and you're feeling depleted, then does this person deserves to be your friend, right? Like you have to think about it in any relationship in your life. If you're consistently getting depleted from an interaction with somebody, then you may have to reconsider whom you are hanging out with, because we become an average of 5 people we surround ourselves with. Let me repeat, we become an average of 5 people we surround ourselves with. So you have to choose your friendship very wisely. In Gujarati, there is a saying called Sang Teurang, right? Like I've seen a lot of good kids turn into not so person of themselves, or they not able to achieve their full potential just because they ended up in the wrong company and they followed the mob mentality, right? Um, Now, another very important thing that I had talked about is where you live can make a huge difference. So we have videos in our program about uh, whether you want to age in place or you want to be in some kind of retirement community. There is a huge appeal to age in place, right? It's a comfort, familiarity, independence, cost effectiveness. You know, you can maintain your neighbors, and your children and grandchildren can come to your home anytime and spend time with you and stuff like that. But after a certain age, aging in your own house, it has its downside that we usually don't think about. Those home modifications and home repair projects can start adding up. You have to do all the chores by yourself. There is safety concerns, there is a transportation issues and stuff like that. But the biggest thing that I worry about is social isolation risk. Like we all love our own home, we all have these emotional connections, but what we have connections are the memories that we have of the place, not the place itself. And all the social connections we have is already gone, right? We loved our neighbors, but those neighbors don't exist anymore, or not in the form that the way we loved. The grandchildren used to come to my house, but now grandchildren or children are older and nobody's coming. So do we really need to stay isolated, hoping that one day a year my grandchild will come and see me in my own home? I'm so happy that I was able to talk to you about social connections. I strongly believe that social connection is very important pillar of lifestyle medicine. So what I would like you to do is to stand up wherever you are and say the words that I say. Connection is
Connection
my
is my
weapon,
weapon,
and
and
I
I
will
will
beat
beat
Alzheimer's
Alzheimer's
disease.
disease.
Thank you.